de Varona and Trevor Loudon. Trevor specifically, he comes from New Zealand, a long trip that's kind of far away. And he comes every year, at least once or twice. And he does a lot of research, and that research he tells everybody about what he found and things like that. And we have Frank de Varona also here that almost all of you know him, so I don't need too much of an introduction. But Frank is an educator, historian, journalist, and internationally known expert on politics, economics, foreign affairs, and national security issues. He was an associate professor in the curriculum and instruction department here at FIU. And he was born in Cuba, and he fought against communist forces in Cuba. He's the author of over 20 books, actually 21, right? And he's a Bear Witness Central Director in the South Florida area. He will be talking about America's decline and Cuba and USA reset. And you people sometimes ask yourself, what's going on in America? What's really happening? Why things are changing? A good thing is now a bad thing, and a bad thing is now a good thing. This is driving us crazy. These two speakers are going to tell you exactly what's going on. Okay, Frank?
Thank you. Thank you, Rolando. I've written 21 books, and in all of those books, Haiti has typed some of the chapters on the computer. Her English is better than mine, her Spanish is better than mine, so she always reviews my articles to make them better. And of course, I'm delighted to be here with Trevor Loudon. Trevor, because I come from 5 minutes away. Trevor comes from the other end of the world, 180 degrees over, away from us in New Zealand. And Trevor is the foremost expert on communism in the entire world. I don't know anybody that knows more about communism than he does. And he's the one that told the United States who Van Jones was. Nobody knew who he was. And he told them, and he told Glenn Beck. And then Glenn Beck told the world. And then we got him fired from the White House. The only communists that Barack Obama fired, there are plenty others that are still working in the White House with him there. And many in Congress, and that's the book on how he's selling on the communists in Congress. Well, I'm going to talk today about Cuba. What has happened recently in Cuba, and then I'm going to talk about the radical Muslim in the world, the threat represents to national security, about Saudi Arabia a little bit, and about Barack Obama's brother, Malik Obama, who is a terrorist, and who works for the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and Sudan. And then I'll stop and let you ask me some questions. And I only have 1 hour, so I'm looking at the clock. Will you point me on this 10 minutes and 5 minutes left, so I know? Well, let's talk about Cuba first. On December 17, as all of the Cubans in the audience know, Barack Obama unilaterally established diplomatic relations in Cuba in violation of the Helms-Burton Law and of the US Constitution. And this surprise announcement came at the end of 18 months of secret talks behind the backs of Congress and the American people, and certainly the Cuban people. And in June of 2013, Barack Obama sent 2 White House officials. Ben Rhodes, we know who he is. He's the one that did the cover-up on Benghazi, who sent the emails to Obama administration officials to lie about what occurred in Benghazi and to blame it on a video that was not an issue there. So that's the one that should be in jail for committing a felony and asking other Obama officials to lie in public, on TV and so forth. And the other one was Ricardo Zúñiga. This is a Honduran American who was working at the State Department, and he spent some time in Havana in the Cuban intersection, and he was in Brasilia, and Obama sent him to the White House and sent those 2 guys to negotiate with Raúl Castro's representatives. They met 9 times in Canada, 1 time in the Vatican with our socialist Pope, our Marxist Pope. That's what he is, we have to say what it is. And I'm a Catholic, and I take communion every Sunday, but we have a Pope that is a Marxist, and we have to denounce him. And then he, of course, met in the Vatican through his friendly offering the Rome and Vatican for that negotiation. And of course, neither the Pope nor Barack Obama demanded Raúl Castro to change anything in Cuba, continue the repression that they've been doing for 56 years. And on the day that Obama made that abominable announcement of normalizing relations with Cuba, a tyranny that has oppressed the Cuban people for 56 years, on that very day, the price of oil was about $55 a barrel. And of course, Cuba is surviving because it received 100,000 free barrels of oil from Venezuela, but Venezuela is already bankrupt. Every barrel of oil that they produce, they lose money on that barrel of oil. They need to have the barrel of oil $120 a barrel or at least $130 a barrel to survive economically. Venezuela doesn't have toilet paper, they don't have food, people are fighting. Whatever little food is left there, that you have to send the police to separate the people who are fighting in the grocery store for the little goods are there. You know, I have a marcapaso, what do you call it? A pacemaker. You know what they use? And when people die, they take out the pacemaker and recirculate even the pacemaker. They have no medicines. They don't even have condoms anymore. That's how bad they are. So Raúl Castro knew that if Venezuela went bankrupt, which it already is, that would threaten the 100,000 barrels of oil that he was getting for free on a daily basis. So he launched a desperate offensive in the United States to see if the United States would recognize him. All he wants is 4 million American tourists to fill the hotels in Havana, which belong to the government. And to, of course, everything else belongs to the government, except maybe 1% of those paladares or whatever little business are in Cuba. The rest is all government owned. So Venezuela received 94% of the income through oil. So that's why it's in such a bad shape as it is. And of course, that aggressive campaign that Raúl Castro launched received a receptive audience in the White House. And we have to recognize that Barack Obama has always admired Fidel Castro. This is nothing new. He went to a church in Chicago, the United Church of Christ, with his minister, Jeremiah Wright, who not only liked Fidel Castro, he liked the Sandinistas, he liked every terrorist in the world. It was a pro-Marxist church and pro-Muslim church of liberation theology, black liberation theology church, the United Church of Christ in Chicago. And he sat there with Michelle Obama for 20 years, clapping at those sermons where this Reverend Wright denounced the United States as the worst country in the world, #1 enemy of the world. The Marines are the Romans, they go around the world killing people. We introduced deliberately the virus of AIDS in the black community to kill blacks here. I mean, the most horrendous things. God damn America instead of God bless America. You name it, he said it. And there was Barack Obama there for 20 years listening to all of that and agreeing with all of that. So by recognizing Cuba and partially destroying the embargo, Barack Obama has thrown a lifesaver and given oxygen to the Cuban dictatorship, who is now able to continue to jail opponents, assassinate and shoot freedom-loving Cubans, and continue to oppress 12 million people. Obama ignored the fact that Fidel Castro told Nikita Khrushchev during the October Missile Crisis to launch a surprise nuclear attack to destroy the United States. I guess he didn't mind that. Also, he didn't mind that more than likely Fidel Castro assassinated President John F. Kennedy. I guess he didn't mind that Néstor Che Guevara shot 2,000 children and men in 3 months at La Cabaña in 1959. The bloody dictatorship in Cuba has shot or assassinated in the streets 14,000 people, jailed over 300,000 people, And I know because I was in jail myself, but here's another Bay of Pigs veteran right here, Mr. Uria, who was also in jail with me. And 80,000 Cuba have died, estimated, we don't know the exact number, trying to reach Florida, crossing the Straits of Florida, in rafts, in little boats, including sometimes in larger boats that the government of Cuba ran and assassinated the people that was trying to get here, such as it happened on July 13, 1994, where 50 people were trying to escape, and several Cuban Navy ships ran the boat, assassinating 37 people, including 10 children. I met a man who lost 10 members of his family, including his grandchildren. And he was telling us the story of the little grandchild. I have a grandson, 5 years old. Imagine if I lose him, you know. And he was sleeping next to his grandchild the night before. And that grandchild was one of the 10 children that died. 10 members from his family he lost. And then he came with a wife here. As soon as she arrived here, she had a heart attack and she died. So, I mean, these are the crimes that Cuba has committed over the years. Just 1 day, 2 days before the announcement of Barack Obama recognizing Cuba, another boat was rammed in international waters, sinking that boat, and one man drowned. So this is a country that has constantly killed people. Raúl Castro was descended from the Sierra Maestras Manta. The first thing he did was shoot a bunch of people in Santiago de Cuba with no trial. So we're talking about an assassin that has blood in his hands. And that's the man that Barack Obama shook his hand in South Africa when he went to the Mandela burial. And Mandela, by the way, was also a communist. His entire life he was a communist. Welcome. Have a seat anywhere. Gloria, nice to see you. Anyway, so right now there are tens of thousands of people like Miguel Uria and I that were in jail in Cuba that live in the United States. And of course we feel abandoned and betrayed by this administration when they have unilaterally restored relations with the inhumane communist country of Cuba. Cuba will continue to work with all the enemies of the United States, such as Venezuela, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and all that he's doing is strengthening that regime so it can continue to work with our enemies. And of course, he has sold out the Cuban people in their quest for freedom and democracy. So for us, the freedom-loving Cubans, December 17, 2014 is a day that will live in infamy. Just like Pearl Harbor was a day like that as well. Obama did not complain when communist Cuba sent a ship full of heavy weapons, including MiG planes, in violation of the arms embargo placed by the Security Council of the United Nations, and Cuba was sending that to North Korea, and the ship was stopped in the Panama Canal. Not a word from Barack Obama that communist nation in Cuba violated the embargo on arms that the United States fought to get in the Security Council of the United Nations. Not a word from Barack Obama. Of course, he was negotiating with Cuba at the time to recognize Cuba. Of course, he did not complain either with the 20,000 soldier Cuban occupation army in Venezuela was assassinating and torturing Venezuelan students in the streets of Venezuela who were peacefully demonstrating against the Chavista regime in that country. He did not complain either when Russia announced they have plans to build military and naval bases in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. Not a word or complaint from Barack Obama. Now, none of the things that Barack Obama has done will change the dictatorship in Cuba. On the contrary, what he has done will be to strengthen the repressive machine that Cuba has. Cuba today has biological weapons and cyber warfare capabilities. It has also served as a spy center of our nation. He even placed Ana Belén Monte in charge of the Cuban policy in the Pentagon. He placed 2 spies in the State Department to spy upon the United States. We're full of spies here, full of Cuban spies, everywhere. In Washington, infiltrating our own organizations, so exiles organization, anti-communist organization. Cuba has worked with the drug cartels in Colombia to introduce drugs to the United States. It has sent people here to steal money from Medicare And when they do, and they steal millions of dollars, what do? They take a plane and fly in Cuba. And that money goes into the Cuban National Bank. I'm sure some of the people keep some for their own as well. So, as usual, when Obama negotiates, he gives away the store. Not because he's stupid, because he's doing deliberately to hurt the United States. We have the architect of the destruction of the United States, and his name is Barack Obama, who happens to be a criminal and a traitor, as I'll get into that if I have time. So Barack Obama decided it was time to appease another brutal dictator by opening relations after a 50-year embargo. This is another bad deal for America. Where are the Cuban concessions on human rights? Where are the political prisoners still in jail in Cuba? Where's the freedom of speech in Cuba and freedom of the press? Where are the promises of real economic changes for the people of Cuba? Where are the open and honest elections taking place in Cuba? Like Senator Marco Rubio said, Obama is the single worst negotiator we have had in the White House. Obama is on the delusion, actually it's not an illusion, it's a lie, that increases commerce in Cuba would bring democracy and respect for human rights. All Obama needs to do, as if he doesn't know it obviously, of course he knows it, look at China. Right? China, we traded with China, we build factories in China, all our multinationals, we put even our research and development centers in China. Has China changed? Is China a democracy today? No. It's a tyranny like it's always been, and the only problem is it has become a major threat to the security of the United States. They're stealing our military and industrial secrets. We built the F-35, our latest plane, $300 billion, and the day it was designed, it was stolen by China. They send us parts for our planes, helicopters, that are false, and they are not only in cyber warfare with the United States, they're also on a currency warfare as well. So now we strengthen China with all that trade, so what? So they can continue to oppress their people and of course be a greater threat to our national security, which China is becoming by the day. And look at Vietnam. They killed 53,000 soldiers, American soldiers, thousands of wounded. We trade with Vietnam. Vietnam is still a dictatorship. They're still oppressing their people. So no country in the world has changed because you are trade with them, recognizing diplomatically or investing in that country. If they are a dictatorship, they will continue to be a dictatorship, and worse dictatorship because they're stronger economically now. Now, when you strengthen Cuba economically, you are strengthening the Cuban army that when in Venezuela, if they rise in the streets to revolt against the Chavista regime, those Cuban armies are going to be stronger economically so they can shoot and even kill more Venezuelans that continue to oppress people in Cuba. So if Obama wanted to bring democracy in Cuba, he could have sought regime change in Cuba, or he could have let the bankrupt Venezuela also bankrupt Cuba, and perhaps with massive poverty and hunger, perhaps that would have brought democracy on those two nations, Venezuela and Cuba.